The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good day, everybody. This is Stephanie from Don Stevens, here to welcome you to, I think this is our fourth in our series of marketing webinars brought to you by Jennifer Bagley and the CI Web Group, preferred internet digital marketing provider for Daikin Amana Goodman brands. And we're excited to bring you the topic today, which is how to increase website conversions. And the reason I'm excited about it is because it's one thing to get people to your website, and a lot of people will help you with search engine marketing and search engine optimization. As you know, they're more than willing to help you with that. But sometimes you get people to your website and it really doesn't convert into real business and live leads. And so that's the topic of our conversation today. Also, before we begin, we'd like to share with you, if you didn't see it in the last email communication, that we do now have a great landing page that CI Web Group and Jennifer's team put together for us. It's fantastic because it's a place where these webinar recordings will be housed for you to look at in the future. So if you missed a previous webinar and you really want to hear and watch and listen to that topic, you can just go to our landing page, which is ciwebgroup.com/Don Stevens. And at that same spot, you can also register for the upcoming webinar, the next webinar that we will have in our series. And that's also the place, there you go, there's a look at it. That's also the place where you can schedule a strategy session, which we'll talk about later in the webinar with Jennifer and her group. So go visit that when we're off the call or during the call today if you want, and give it a look. And please visit that again and schedule your strategy session. We'll talk more about that later on in the webinar. But with that, I'll turn it over to Jennifer. Jennifer, take it away.
Fantastic, Stephanie. Thank you so much. And for everybody that's taken time out of your busy schedules today to attend, I know it's getting chilly there, so I appreciate you taking this time to work on your business instead of in your business. And that's always important for any owner of any business, especially if you've got a marketing person. Make sure that they attend these webinars. As Stephanie said, we've got a series of them we've already done, and then we'll have more coming up. So you can get registered for the next one right away. And if you ever miss one, you've got business you've got to take care of, no problem. You can always go back, watch the archives. You can go to ciwebgroup.com/Don Stevens, no dash, just Don Stevens. And we would love to be able to help you guys out. So as Stephanie said, this is really about conversions. And sometimes this is a big missed opportunity. Steph mentioned that a lot of times you'll go out and you're trying to work with people on how do I get more leads, how do I get more traffic, and most of the time the concentration is I need more traffic to my website in order to increase the volume of potential leads that I have. But there is a big challenge, and that is your website designed to convert? And I'll tell you, this is not a science. This is a part art, part feeling, part science. And it should be a constantly changing and evolutionary part of your business, is constantly learning and learning and learning. How do people convert? What do they want to see? So we're going to talk about conversions, and you'll definitely want to go back and check out the previous sessions if you missed them, because we have talked a little bit about website design and development and so forth. There's predecessors. So right now I'm covering conversions. However, you could make all these design changes on your website to get it to convert better, and ultimately you have a website that was developed wrong. It's not responsive, it's built in tables, it's a template, and your site may be set up initially or too old to be able to be crawled by Google, be indexed by Google, be researched or found on a mobile device, and so forth, or display appropriately on a mobile device. So the challenge with these webinars is the only way we could teach you everything you need to know is we would need to lock you in some kind of chambers for like 2 weeks and not let anybody go, and then we might be able to cover most of what you need to know. So the best thing Steph recommended was sign up for the strategy session at the end of this, you guys. Let us take a look at what do you have and where do you want to go and what are the steps that you need to get there. And I promise you, everyone's is different. So this is more informational and educational, but There are lots of other factors that are dependent on this working. So this isn't the fix everything, all of a sudden my website's going to generate, tons of leads, because you've got to address those other areas as well. So first things first, developing a buyer persona. It's crucial to your marketing success. You've got to understand, who is my buyer? Is it a stay-at-home mom? Is it a man? Are they in their 50s? Are they in their 40s? Are they? Is it a elderly community where you actually have the kids who are doing the research in order to identify what service providers are going to be assisting their parents? So you've got to really figure out, and you've got to realize that even though you might have an idea of who your target market is, remember, it's only based on what you already have. And if you're not marketing via certain vehicles, there may be a huge marketplace out there that you're not necessarily tapping into because you don't, and so you won't see that you have some other buyer personas that you need to interact with. And everyone's very different. A lot of times in marketing, what people do is they base everything based on their own perception or their own likes and dislikes, which mean if you wake up in the morning and you're like, you know what, I don't even know why people get on Facebook. That's ridiculous. Or I would never go to Google and I would never type in furnace repair in and put in a city and look that way. The only thing I would ever do is ask my friend or ask this or ask for a referral. You have to be very, very careful because you're not trying to market to yourself. You're trying to market to very different age groups. Every age group is not the same. You can't bucket them. My mom and dad are the ones who drag me kicking and screaming into every social media network they think is going to be the next hottest network out there. And they're the ones that got me into Facebook, and they're the ones that got me into LinkedIn and so forth years ago. But it was my parents pushing me because I lived far away and they wanted to stay in communication and so forth. And so you got to really, really be cautious that your perceived understanding of how people buy and how people search may not necessarily be the truth, but may only be the truth to you. So that being said, we have to really think from a buyer persona standpoint. What are their priority initiatives? What's important to them? A lot of times we forget the fact that people want to know how much you care before they know or want to know how much you know. We also have to remember that a person, a human, their interest is in you resolving their problems, not necessarily selling your products. So if you think about that, actually, let me jump out of here and I'm going to go over to one of our client sites. And this is Pat Green, but I want to show you something because I think this is going to help. We've held tons of focus groups, and those focus groups are really designed to get consumer feedback from all over the nation, different age groups, different income levels, different educational, different technology experiences, and so forth. And so we have them evaluate websites. One of the things that really stood out in a series of focus groups that we had was when they go to an HVAC site, all it is they're getting bombarded with product sales or service sales, and they don't know what they need. They don't know the difference. Even though they may go on Google and say AC service repair in, or AC repair in, or furnace repair in, and they may put in a phrase like that, still ultimately when they get to their site, they're stuck. They don't know. What they do know is they're experiencing an issue. And the issue is my rooms are too hot or too cold. I have uneven temperatures throughout my house. My electric bill is too high. I've got too much dust. I might have mold. My AC is so loud I can't even hear the TV. I don't know how to change the filters. You might have the single mom syndrome. My thermostat's broke. It's hard to read. It doesn't work. It doesn't set. It says that it's set at 72, but the house feels like it's frigid. It's 50. I have condensation in my windows, or my home is just not comfortable and I don't know what to do about it. So we have to think about what does the customer feel like? What do they feel like? And then how do we help them? All right. So that being said, let me jump back here. So you have priority initiatives. What are the success factors? What's important to them? Is it price? Is it speed? Is it quality? Is it that it works? Is it your response time? What are important things to the customers? What are barriers? Maybe it's money. So do you offer financing? Are there ways that they can get a new furnace installed or a new air conditioner installed? What is the buyer's journey? What kind of process do they have to go through to do business with you? So Many times you'll see on a website that the only option is that there is a form, a web form on there. So you go to a website, let's see here. Well, we'll just go back here. And there is a web form or a contact us page, and that contact us page takes them to a place where there's a form. So if you notice on here, we think about the buyer's process in many different ways. So you may have scheduled service. That's probably going to be an existing customer thinking more that they want to schedule service with their HVAC company. You may have somebody that has a certain personality type that all they want is a quote. So giving them an online estimate builder, not necessarily to give them an estimate right out of the gate on the internet, but more to give them the feeling that they can give you the volume of information that's necessary in order to have a more educated and a quicker conversation with you to get an estimate faster. It may be promotions and savings. It may be financing. So you have to really think about what is the consumer's mindset when they come to your site, and how are you addressing each one of those different mindsets? All right. So essentially, this is the kind of analysis process. We have to interview buyers. We've got to ask more questions. You guys have the opportunity to talk to your clients all the time. Usually with our customers, we talk to them, we visit, we ask them, what does your client say? Start talking to your customers. Ask them, how did you find there? What made them decide to do business with you? What made them decide not to do business with you? If you went out, you sat in their living room, you gave them a proposal, and they decided to go with someone else, calling them up and actually finding out, can you tell me, I really, really appreciate, we're trying to grow, we're trying to improve, and I'd really appreciate your feedback. If you can give me anything that can help me do better in our process, or provide more value, or better hit your expectations so that we would be your decision of choice, what would that be? So we need to analyze, we need to do buyer interviews, we need to analyze those insights, we need to build those personal persona and scenarios, and we need to map the buyer through the process. Once you have that down, then it's essentially conversation, which is your ability to communicate, which in the digital world is content creation. Most important thing you can ever do is content creation. Getting a website, not enough. SEO, not enough. Social media, not enough. Conversion strategy, not enough. Your voice is everything. In Google, you're looking at content, which essentially is your voice that is categorized and indexed depending on what primary focus phrase it is. And through third-party validation or backlinking and social media engagement, that content can be made popular, and the more popular it is, the more backlinks to it, the higher up it climbs in the search rankings. The higher up it is in the search rankings, the difference, if you're on page 2 of Google, it's good, for a specific phrase, that's good because you're making progress, but that doesn't mean you're going to have any conversions. It doesn't mean you're going to be making money or your phone's going to ring. You've got to be on page 1 in that top 5 listings in order for it actually to convert to cash. All right, and then conversions matter. So, this is really when conversions matter. When you are on page 1 of Google, position 1 through 5, your mindset instantly needs to be changing over to how do we convert? How do we convert? How do we convert? How do we convert? So if you only have a web form on there, on your contact us page, probably not great conversions. Someone that has an urgent situation, or they're busy, or they can't, they don't have a relationship with you, you have to set that appointment in stone. Instead of letting them fill out some information, if they're not a click-to-call person, if they don't like to pick up the phone, and there's a lot of people like that, filling out a web form is a really detached process. However, going onto your site, and I'll show you the difference, going onto your site and scheduling a time to talk to you about service or repair, or getting an estimate or service or an emergency request, choosing a location, going in and setting a specific time. So if you have a consumer, they're busy at work, think about their life and what's happening in their life. They're at work, they can't talk to you right now, it's on their task list to get this done, but they can talk to you at 2:30 on Wednesday, or they can talk to you at 5:30 on Wednesday. Instead of just filling out a web form and keeping your fingers crossed that you guys are going to respond quickly, you want to set an emotional connection to a time and a date in order to convert. So this is the number one thing you can do is have a scheduling system on there that allows them to choose a day, choose a time, and set the appointment to have a discussion with you. As well as this has a ton of other benefits because you now have a CRM or contact relationship management system so that you can use all of the data very, very quickly for other marketing campaigns. All right, I'm only on slide 4. Gotta love it. Okay, so one of the other things that to really, really understand about people is you have very different personality styles. So if you're not familiar with the DISC assessment, it's a very, very popular personality assessment profiling tool that allows you to be able to really identify the different personality styles. And there's essentially 4 different quadrants. You have Ds. Okay, a high D, these are typically very outgoing, very task-oriented individual. They are very focused on results, very direct, very competitive. They're very dominant in their personality styles. They also are not necessarily interested in all the details. They're not going to want all of the pieces of information. They may not even want to learn what SARE is. What they want to know is how much is it going to cost? When can you have it installed? What is your process for maintaining it? How do you ensure that it's going to be quality installation and that everything's going to work? And I need this very fast and now. So they're going to be more likely the type of person that's going to fill out a request for estimate or online estimate builder. They also will be someone that may have an assistant go in and schedule time to have a conversation with you, but they're not going to be the ones that pick up the phone and have this long winded conversation. They're not going to be the ones that fill out a form on a contact us page. That's just not their personality style. The next ones are Cs. These are more, okay, so let me back up. These Ds, a high D, this is typically going to be the CEO of a company. Like I said, very dominant in personality. Sometimes they may seem rude or short. Not that they're rude, they're just efficient. We'll say that. This next one, Cs, these are more of your analytical type person. These are often going to be accountants, financial planners, someone that is more into the detail. So content is going to be important to them, understanding the complexities and all the different options, maybe having 3 or 4 different quotes and so forth. They are going to be slower decision makers. They're not going to decide as quickly as a high D. These guys are going to take their time and they want data. So they're the ones that are going to be reading all of the reviews on your website. They're not going to go off to some third-party site. They're going to be analyzing as much information as they can in order to determine if they even want to have a conversation with you. So a lot of work is going into these people before they actually even talk to you. As I said, you're probably going to be dealing with a multiple bid situation in this environment as well. All right, next one. This one right here. This is also the person, if you've ever been in an airport and you see some guy and they're checking out every monitor to make sure the plane's on time as they walk through the airport. This is absolutely who that is. They stop in front of the little screen that has all the times, and they're double checking it, checking their watch, double checking it, checking their agenda. That's just how they operate. All right, S's. This is going to be your supporters. So this is the person that's got, 10 people with them. They're making sure everybody is taken care of. It may be a mom with her kids and families and other families, and she makes sure everybody has lunch and everybody's there on time. They often drive a minivan. But this group is not driven by data at all. Not driven by data at all. They are heavy emotional buyers. What is most important to them, or what drives their buying decision, is how they feel, not necessarily the data, how they feel. So if you go to a website and you have an HVAC site, and all it is equipment and equipment and equipment and equipment and equipment. That's all the visual images on the entire site. That's going to turn these guys off because it doesn't make them feel good. Okay, it's not a technical specifications like these guys. It doesn't make them feel good. So if you're talking about indoor air quality, having a baby with a dog laying on a carpet and talking about indoor air quality, that picture, that image is going to make them feel good. If you have a couple and that couple is laying on the couch and they're cuddled up with their kids and they're watching TV and they're comfortable, that's going to make them feel good. If you have a child, a toddler or a young child that's laying in their bed and they're curled up in their blanket and they're sleeping comfortably, that's going to make them feel good. All right. And finally, you have your influencers. These are high eyes. They are very enthusiastic, very friendly, very optimistic. They're very influential. They tend to think very quickly. These could also be known as the ones with ADD. They're going to talk a lot, but you're going to want to build some kind of relationship with them, have a rapport. If you're cold or not friendly on the phone or too professional on the phone, probably going to be the turnoff. These would be the ones that go to the airport and they are the last person on the airplane to stop in. And when they stop, they say, all right, we can leave now. I'm here. Okay, calls to actions. Calls to actions, or they're also referred to as CTAs, are the most important small thing on your entire website design project. If you get your CTAs right, your conversions will go up. It's just that simple. As long as, go back to the predecessor, you have to be on a page 1, position 1 through 5. And you also, unless you're doing, if we're talking about calls to actions and related to your mobile app or your email marketing or your social media marketing, those are all going to be different as it relates to your website. If you have a call to action and you're doing a landing page for a pay-per-click campaign or something like that, that's different. I'm primarily talking about your website, but some things apply to all. Regarding costs, I will tell you this. If you think that having a properly designed website is expensive, I promise you, the cost of doing it wrong far outweighs the cost of doing it right. The cost of doing it wrong, if you go with the wrong kind of company and they build you a website, it can't be called by Google, it's not designed appropriately, and so forth, you're not looking at the cost of, you got an inexpensive website, it only cost you, $500, it was a template, whatever the situation is. You're looking at how much did it cost you to go through the process, how much did it cost to have a website that doesn't perform and doesn't bring in new business, and how much does it cost in missed opportunities, which is the duration of time that you had that in place. How many missed opportunities did you have? Also, you have the cost of finding another vendor and doing it again, finding another vendor and doing it again. In the SEO world, depending on where you are currently ranked, let's say you need to go from 0 to hero. That takes some time. I have seen companies that have quit 1 yard before the touchdown and started over, and it just, you've got to make sure that this is a priority. Doing it right is important, and just as difficult as it would be me to ask you technical questions to hire a subject matter expert in your area, the more that you attend these webinars, the more that you listen, the more you learn, the more you're going to be able to ask better questions, be able to properly evaluate your vendor's results, be able to set appropriate personal expectations. What is the right expectation? If you're going after a very popular competitive key phrase in a major metropolitan area with lots of competition, your expectation needs to be that you may be investing in that key phrase for a long period of time before any call to actions on your website actually convert something into a new customer. Whereas if you're looking for if you're trying to get ranked for a key phrase in a more rural area or a town with less competition, you can do that faster, but there's less houses. People are not actually replacing their air conditioners every year. This is something that is every 10 years, and people are not even staying in their houses that long anymore. So there has to be a lot of thought that goes into what should my expectations actually be. So we definitely want to focus on doing it right. Your website, we've got to make sure that the content, the call to action, has high value and relevance, and that is what's going to help you generate more conversions. So this is really, really important. What a call to action is not, it is not text. So if you have a whole bunch of text on your website And in that text somewhere, it says to get more information on our HVAC or our furnace repair or our furnace installation or our furnace maintenance program and so forth, call 1-2-3-4-5-5-5-5, whatever. That's not a call to action. It's not. As much as you think my phone number is on every single page, that doesn't work. If you have your phone number in the very bottom footer of your website and it's this tiny little thing, I don't know why we would do that. It's the most important element of your business, is making sure that they can contact you depending on what their perceived needs are and their perceived best way to reach you is, not yours. So we have to be careful. So it's not text, it's not a hyperlink, it's not a GIF, it's not a meme, it's not a black hole. A call to action is a button, and it needs to be big, not this kind of a button. It needs to be bright. It needs to stand off the page. It should be anything but plain. All right, so let's go through some of these. I've showed you a handful of these. So here's an example. We have, need to replace your home comfort system. Use our estimate builder to answer a few questions so we suggest a system that might be the best fit for your home. You'll notice that this is a button. It stands off the page. It says, start the estimate builder. You're telling them a call to action. Go do this. That is great. The estimate builder, from a mindset standpoint, there are consumers that believe that if I go in and I start an estimate builder, I could get what I want fast, which is a quote. I want an estimate. And there are a group of people that want that. Remember, we live in the day and age of drive-thrus are better than going in personal relationships in some instances. So for those people who would prefer to go through the drive-thru instead of walk in and shake hands with their banker, this is going to work. So it doesn't mean that you're going to spit out an estimate. But it does mean we can educate the client. We can get all of the information you need. You can get the square footage. You can find out when the house was built. You can find out what year the house was built. You can find out how many rooms the house has. You can find out their current SARE calculation, possibly, and so forth. You can get all the details that are needed to have a more educated conversation with them. And if they happen to be a high D, if you remember, those are the dominant folks, time is of the essence. They don't want to sit on the call with you for a long time. Here's another version of that. You'll notice the free estimate, it's a button, it's 3D, it stands off the page. Next one, apply for financing. So back to the buyer personas. If one of the potential barriers is, you know what, I don't have the money to do this. There's no way we can afford to get a new HVAC system. There's no way we can get new air conditioner units. I've heard this cost, 6 figures plus, and they're struggling with that. Make it easy. Let them know. You can apply for financing. However, let me catch this real quick. Do not have an apply for financing button that takes them directly to your bank that's providing the financing. You're losing it at this point. You've done an awesome call to action, but you've done an awesome call to action for the bank and you have no data. Make sure that any of your financing options that are available on the site, the first thing you do is collect the consumer's information, basic information. Are you interested in applying for financing? If here, click yes, apply for financing. You get their name, their phone number, their email. What are they interested in? Maybe a comment section. They hit submit and you say, thank you so much for gathering information. To complete your application online, go here. Then you send them to the bank. That way you have the lead information, you have the data, you can follow up. That relationship remains in your hands. They don't go to the bank, forget who they filled out the web form with, and go find a new vendor to use those funds with. So make sure you keep them. All right, download our free ebook. Top 10 things you need to know before hiring an HVAC company. So having some kind of an ebook, you can very quickly build your list. A list is important. In the HVAC world, which I love working in this industry because there's nowhere to go but up when it comes to digital marketing. Things that may be very prevalent and relative in all these other industries and things they've been doing for years. In the HVAC industry, it's just not there yet. So you need to be the first one that it is there. Being able to build a list, have an email marketing campaign, have that list available at your fingertips. So if you do start a new service, or there is a new piece of technology, or you do want to build your maintenance program so you can build your residuals, that you have a database that you can go back to. So this is a great call to action. We've got a book. It stands out. It's off. Maybe this looks like a CD. It says it's an ebook. This takes minutes to do. It doesn't take that long to do. Getting an ebook written, it's inexpensive. Getting the cover designed for your CD or the book or whatever it is so that it stands off the shelf on your website, that's great as well. I'll show you another way that we implemented that same methodology. Over here, you'll see we have this pop-up that says top 10 things you need to know before hiring an HVAC contractor. There's a little video that explains it. And then we have the top 10 questions to ask your contractor before purchasing your new air conditioning and heating system for your office or home. All they do is put in an email. Very non-invasive. It's not a pop-up that flies up into the middle of the site. They can always close it right here very easily, and it's gone. But it does give them two things that are important. I don't even know what to ask. So what do I ask? What do I need to know before I actually go through this process? Let the technology do the work for you. Remember, this is, I think one of the very first webinars I did for you guys was how to leverage technology to convert your time to cash. What if you had an ebook and a video that explained all of the things that you have to address sitting in their home? But what if you got to them before they got to your competitor's home? What if you got to let the technology, whether it was an ebook or a video, start walking through? You can't get an estimate for an HVAC system online. Why? Because I don't know the size of your ducts. I can't tell how well you're insulated. I don't know if the ducts are properly ventilated. I'm not sure if you've got returns in the proper area and so that the system's actually going to be efficient. Because a lot of salespeople will come in and try and sell you the very biggest unit, which that unit may not be sufficient for your house. Being able to talk to them about all of the different things that are the same things you guys talk about kind of at the water cooler and that frustrates you, why would they do that? Why would they go with this guy that just sold them this huge unit and it doesn't fit? Or, they bought a new system, but their ventilation and their ducts are dirty as all get out and so forth. So, all right, scheduling system. Let's talk. This is the best one. I'm telling you, get a mental commitment. I have an appointment to talk to my HVAC contractor on Friday at 2 o'clock or Friday at noon on my lunch hour. Set the appointment instead of just letting them fill out a web form. Home and duct performance. Don't test, don't guess. So very quick. People love taking surveys and tests and so forth to see how healthy is your home. Take our home symptom survey. If you've got a parent and that parent has children with allergies, and they're concerned about that. Maybe dad doesn't think there's an issue. Mom's really, really concerned because the allergies seem to be getting worse and she's at home with them all the time. This is something that they will be quick to turn around as well. Not everybody's going to use that, but people will. Some will, depending on their personality. Newsletter, the ability to scribe. Download our mobile app. What do you get when you download the mobile app? Maybe you guys, we've built mobile apps for HVAC clients that, let's see here. One of them has a emergency service request. So you download the mobile app and all of their existing customers get emergency service request priority. So they're the first ones on the list. We have another one that we did a piece of functionality where they can refer a friend and get some kind of certificate towards future service. We did another one where as part of their maintenance program, what they get is reminders via text message. It's called push notifications. That it's time to change their air filters. And then it says, don't worry if you don't want to, just sign up for our maintenance program and we'll take care of it for you. So they're trying to really, really, we're working on building their residuals. Lots of stuff you can do. Just a bunch of different samples. Schedule an estimate, schedule service. One is going to be more for a current customer, even though the same people may click both. It's just mindset, maybe the exact same form. Call us today. Make your phone numbers big. Make them big, make them bright, make them call to clicks or click to call, excuse me. Let me just show you real quick. Let's see here. So if somebody is going to click a phone number, so you'll notice that if I'm over here, the hand pops up. If I click on that, it's going to launch an external protocol. If somebody is looking at your site from a mobile device, you want Google Chrome external protocol to be on there so that it is a click to call. The most irritating thing for somebody is to find you online, pull you up on their cell phone, be driving or sitting at a stoplight and try and tap your phone number and nothing happens. That will instantly turn somebody off. They're out of there because you can't multitask and write your phone number down and all that. You got to have click to calls. Every phone number needs to be very clear, stand off the page and click to call. You'll see this right here. Very clear. Click to call. Call to actions. Countryside. Actually, Stephanie, you and I were just talking about them. So this is a site that we're working on for them right now. They're just about ready to go live. So you'll notice call to actions just in the top half of their site. You have phone number. So this is a normal HVAC company's call to action. Contact us button. Notice how invisible it is. You have click to call, schedule service, online estimate. You have submit an online estimate request. Then we have residential homes, schedule service, get an estimate. New construction, schedule service, get an estimate. Commercial buildings, schedule service, get an estimate. Our services, so each one of these. Then we have more informational call to actions. Air conditioning, get more information. Heating, get more information. Radiant floors, thermostats, residential, commercial, performance testing, and so forth. Our SARE calculator, and then you're moving in. If you take the bottom half of their website and the top half of their website and you put them together, this is called a footer. And your footer needs to be as prominent with call to actions as your header. The two most important areas on your entire site is this area right here, top right-hand corner of your header area, and the bottom footer of your website. These should work independently without seeing any of the guts of your site as their own individual website. So you'll notice click to calls, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter. We have an address, we have an email with a click, we have a phone number with a click to call, and so forth. There are plenty. So somebody knows who you are, what you do, where you do it, and how to reach you all within seconds. All within seconds, most important. A lot of times I see too much text on the homepage. We want to be able to, and you have the ability to convert people straight out of your homepage without having them go anywhere else within your entire site if you do it right, if it's designed appropriately. You can absolutely do that. Another example, Hurlburt. So we have who we are, what we do, where we do it, and how to reach you, and multiple versions of that. Call to actions clearly throughout the entire site, and so forth. And the footer, same thing, very clear. Okay. So special promotions, if you want somebody to sign up, that's another way to convert them. I've shown you this site. That's the Air Care site. Schedule a consultation. We have a lot of people that are going more online, so really focusing on that. You can do everything online. You can schedule a repairman online. You can download the mobile app, and so forth. You want to make it as easy as possible. You'll notice this button, clear, bright, shiny, apply for financing. I love this one. Write us a love note with the reviews area. Maintenance request, free consultation. These are samples of good call to action buttons, specials and rebates. This is what a coupon would look like. A lot of times I look at HVAC sites and it's just text. It's like this, it's specials, discounts, and rebates. And then boom, you go there and it's like, you're going to make me read. So people they're short on time. Their attention spans are so short. You need tremendous amounts of content in order for Google to properly put you in the right buckets. You need tremendous amounts of content that are used off page in order to drive backlinks to your content on your website in order to get ranked on Google higher up in the search engines. But when it comes down to real people, not robots, evaluating your website, remember, they don't have a lot of time. So if it's just cluttered with text and paragraphs, put that stuff in a blog. Use that primarily. Remember, your text is the primary audience for your text is a robot that's going to be crawling and evaluating and giving performance regulations based on that text. A human, a person, they are visual creatures. They like pretty, they like clean, they like pictures, they like clarity, and they don't want to have to read, especially something they're not necessarily interested in. It's just something they have to get done. Okay? Savings calculators, very important. Comfort clubs, schedule service. If you guys aren't doing a regular kind of maintenance program or building a residual for your business based on maintenance, then we need to worry about that. We need to think about that, I'll say. Schedule service, satisfaction, residential, new construction, commercial, another example of buttons. Good designs ensure that a brand stands out over another. Remember, you are being evaluated. So if you look at your site and maybe you built it yourself and you feel really good about it because it took you, 3 months to build it, or if you didn't have a designer and all you had was I call them the triple Fs, friends, family, and fools, that, built you a free website and you've got a site. It doesn't mean that you're going to stand out. It may be that when it really comes down to it, they find a bunch of different sites. Yours is one of them, but it's not the one that stands out that they're making contact with instantly. Make sure we've talked about the scheduling system, really good use of sidebars when it comes into your blog area, and that I've primarily focused on call to actions on your homepage. There are two different elements. So you have your header, that's on every page, your footer on every page. Your homepage, very important because you're driving people to there through social media, referrals, current customers, past clients, and so forth. But your interior pages, which are designed for SEO, so it's content related to key phrases, cities, and locations you want to get found for, they are going to land on interior pages. You want to make sure that you've got great call to actions on the sidebars of those pages. So you don't just want content on there with no call to actions. You also want to make sure that part of your CTAs is also allowing people to connect and comment and so forth. So you'll notice here, this is somebody has a blog post, and Kathy Marshall goes in, great article about AC repair, and it says that she also posted it on her Facebook. And if you're familiar with Kathy's Facebook, she's got at least 5,000 connections on there. This is a great, I've seen client education centers, again, lots and lots of text, too much text. Clean it up, make it very visual, very pretty, and so forth. You can do that on your homepage. Save the text for the interior pages. That's for SEO. So as Stephanie mentioned, you guys, we will do a complimentary strategy session with all of you. It's as simple as going to ciwebgroup.com, click on contact us, schedule now at the bottom of the site, and you can set a time with us right online. You'll be meeting with me specifically. Everyone that does set up a strategy session, this is what you're going to get. So one, you get a listing on our HVAC directory, which gives you another recorded area in Google, which is cihvac.com. We give you a free website analysis, local listing report, but most importantly, we'll dive into your business, dive into your website, your SEO, your social, figure out what's important to you, and identify where are you now and where do you want to be, and help you prioritize what you should do based on what kind of resources you have available. So this strategy sessions, from what I've heard, they've been very, very effective for those individuals, and I highly recommend you guys getting signed up, and we'll jump on the phone and really dig into that for you. Stephanie, thank you so much. Do we have any questions that have come in, or do you have any questions?
I have no questions. I have a comment to say thank you for another wildly informative webinar, I'll say. I always kind of feel maybe the dealers on the call do a little bit too, like, you're sort of drinking from a fire hose. There's just all this great information coming at you. That's why I take pages of notes during all of these sessions, and I think that's why the strategy session is something to really consider. And I should just say it's no obligation, but the dealers that I've talked with who have done it are thrilled, absolutely thrilled that they've done it. So in that, I'll also comment, going back to that countryside page that you showed during the webinar, they're about to go live, and I just stopped by because they're near my home. Actually, I stopped by one day just to talk and asked how it was going, and unsolicited, they just said they're so thrilled that they hooked up with Jennifer and her group, and just can't wait. Everything that's being done is just completely to their satisfaction, and can't wait to see the results from it. So just a little plug for Jennifer and her group. And if you're not ready for that, still do the strategy session and learn. This is all about learning and bringing you the opportunity to improve your marketing and get results. So
I love that. Absolutely. And I am not a salesperson, so don't freak out. This is not a sales call. It is a strategy session. As you can probably tell by the fire hose, I love talking about this stuff. I love meeting with you guys. The guys over at Countryside are the coolest people on the planet, by the way. They are so fun. They went from totally non-technical to he is in there figuring out WordPress. He's adding content. He's blogging. The last call that we had, he was like, all right, so totally tried to change out some pictures, messed it up. I was like, he's even doing things that he doesn't have to do. I'm like, you could just send those to our guys and they'll take care of it for you. But it was real cool that he was in there just learning the system. He's been through the training classes. He spent time with Kathy on one-on-one training times. What a trooper. It's really just awesome to see him taking such a hands-on approach and getting it and learning. And, it's almost like you're looking at this big wall and it's got these circles all over and nothing's touching. You've got all these notes and these dumb acronyms that are everywhere. You talk too fast. It's too much information. But I promise you, the more of these you attend, the more, as a business owner, you can't get away with not knowing enough about marketing, at least to be able to ask good questions, evaluate performance, know when you need to say, call it stops, know when you need to add more funds because it's going to convert into more cash and you're going to have a great ROI and so forth. So you got to learn it. Some of it will just know every time you attend one, another circle is going to get closer to another one. And then all of a sudden 2 circles are going to touch and you're going to go, you know what? I got that. That makes sense. Okay, next. And you're going to keep doing that until you're to the point where you really have a good grasp on all this stuff. And then, by the time you do, it's all going to change and you can start over. I'm totally joking, but not really. This is,
well,
go for it, Steph.
that makes sense. Good analogy.
It is. The circle.
All right, well, with that, we can end the webinar. Thank you again for attending, spending your lunch with us today, and we'll look forward to the next one.
All right. Don't forget to sign up and register for the next webinar series. Check out the older ones by going to ciwebgroup.com/Dawn Stevens. You'll see the giant call to action buttons on there. One is register here. You'll see the videos, and another one is sign up today. Those are CTAs you should follow right away. Thanks, Stephanie. I appreciate everybody.
Thank you, Jennifer.